Big, interesting you talk about age. There's Vodars, who's one of the East Germans, world champion. And we're about to go to Ola Zarenko, who's 35 years of age, so she hasn't aged all that much. She won the gold medal in 1980 in Moscow, where she broke the world record for the 800. That has since gone to Kratok-Vilova from Czechoslovakia, but it's in the next one. So they're away, and from the outside, Ola Zarenko and Vodars. Tellez is in lane 6, Gallagher in lane 5, Wade in lane 4, a double Commonwealth champion at this distance. Kolovic's gone out in lane 2, Clark in lane 1, and Zuniga in lane 3. So Gallagher's taken up the front running with Vodars, Ola Zarenko and Kolovic. And Ola Zarenko, who won this event 8 years ago in Moscow, with a bit of trouble there for Kolovic, has taken up the front running. Vodars, the world champion, is second. Third, Gallagher. Fourth, Zuniga from Spain. Then Kolovic, Clark, Tellez and Wade is at the back. So the two girls that are favoured to go 1-2 have put themselves in the best position.
Yes, they have indeed, Bruce, and they're getting amongst it too. They're not at all very slow. They're keeping a good pace on. It's a windy condition, so the front runner can feel a bit of a problem because of the wind, but isn't worrying this Russian girl. She's really moving it along.
Good first lap, 57.46. It could be a fast semi-final. And at the moment, there's 5 in it and 3 at the back. And Ola Zarenko, who's heavily bandaged, 35 years of age, leads Vodars, Gallagher, Zuniga, Kolovic, and the other 3 are out of it. So 4 places, 5 people challenging for them, and Ola Zarenko's gone. So the defending, or the champion from Moscow, is out of it. So obviously she's had an injury problem, because she's better than this. And the 4 that'll go through can now switch off a bit. Vodars, Gallagher, Zuniga, who's been the surprise from Spain, and Kolovic. They haven't taken a head count, but if they did, they'd be pretty safe, because Wade is 20 metres away. Gallagher's challenging Vodars in the straight. Kolovic and Zuniga are both running at their very top. Kolovic had a look back. Gallagher still looks fairly good. So does Vodars, though. She's responded, and they're drawn away from Kolovic and Zuniga, and they'll both qualify comfortably, all 4, and the time's fast, 1:57.22. Vodars, Gallagher, Kolovic and Zuniga. They're the qualifiers. Wade, Tellez, Clark and Ola Zarenko. So let's take a break after the first semi-final. Vodars winning in 1:57.22. To the Olympic Stadium in Seoul for the second semi-final of the women's 800 metres. Riezdi of Suriname, who's made the final by running a big personal best in the heat. Yevzeva of the Soviet Union, one of the favourites. Diane Edwards in 7. And a girl with a very long name in lane 8 is Matuzovichin of the Soviet Union. So 2 Soviets, but the favourite here is Vogtel in lane 4 from the GDR, East Germany. She was second, beaten a whisker last year by Vodars in the World Championship. And Vodars has just won the first of these heats in 1:57.22. The American Floyd is showing out, Delisa Floyd, who's married to the former sprinter Stanley Floyd. And the Soviet with a long name, Matuzovichin, has taken up the running from Vogtel. Yevzeva, the taller of the Soviets, copped a very bad check there. She ran into the back of Vogtel. She's third. Fourth is Floyd. And off the back is Bailey, which is a bit of a surprise, because I didn't think they were going quite so quickly. 1:57.22 in the first. First 4 to go through to tomorrow's final.
They're moving along in this heat as well, this semi-final as well, Bruce. The GDR like to run on the shoulders, don't they? They're sitting on the shoulders of the Russian again. It's almost identical to the first semi-final, where the Vodars ran so impressively.
57.25, first lap. Matuzovichin leads from Vogtel. Floyd, Yevzeva and Edwards from Great Britain, and then Lesch from West Germany. The Soviets were very impressive yesterday in the heats, but this is much more serious, and Vogtel has been the #1 in the world last year. And she's gone past the first Soviet, and now Yevzeva is going to tackle her. It's quite windy in the stadium, and it is difficult for 800-metre running. Floyd has gone a long way from home, and the Soviets are in a bit of trouble. Certainly Matuzovichin's going to miss out, and Vogtel's being challenged by Floyd, but she'll respond, Vogtel. Yevzeva, Lesch and Edwards. First 4 to go through. It's going to be a great battle. Vogtel's come away. Floyd's running very well. Yevzeva will get through, and so will Edwards. And Vogtel, well, can she beat Vodars in the final? It's going to be a slower heat, 58.4. Floyd ran very well. Yevzeva third, and Edwards is qualified for 4th. Ron, who do you fancy, Vochtel or Vodars?
I thought Vodars was much easier than Vochtel. Vochtel was really going fairly flat tack down there because she had 4 right on her back. And she had to really keep it going along, although she could have eased a little, but she didn't, I didn't think at all. I think Vodars is more impressive. I think it might be a repeat of the championships in World Championships in Rome, but it's going to be very close between these two girls. I was pretty impressed also with Yevseva, the Russian. I think she had a little bit in her. A big, long girl. If the cards fall right, for an 800 metres, the cards have to fall right. I think she could be well in it.
Floyd's run very well because her best is 1:58.7, and she's run right up to that.
Yes, she has indeed, but she again was, I don't think she got much in reserve. The race was perfect for her. She came around the outside just where they wanted to. She bit into that wind.
Ron Clark, who will be joining me in about 15 minutes' time for the men's 800 metre semi-finals. They are going to be fantastic. The 2 East Germans win the semi-finals in 6 and 7, and Levskaya is in lane 3. Tatiana Levskaya, who she raced against today. It could not be better, Ron Clark. It's a perfect draw.
Perfect. It's absolutely. If she hadn't chosen it, I think the way that she would have put it in.
This is a women's 800 final. Men's 800 final in about 15 minutes' time. Kim Gallagher ran a personal best in the semi-final of 1:57.39. Second last Olympic Games, silver medal in Los Angeles. The number 1 last year was this girl, Christine Vochtel of East Germany, but she was second in the World Championships, but ranked number 1. Has a personal best of 1:55.32 and comes into this as the second favourite. Slobodanka Kolovic of Yugoslavia was the World Student final last year, won the World Student Games and was in the final of the World Championships. There's a favourite. Sigrun Vodars, 23 years of age from East Germany, current world champion, silver medalist at the European Championships in 1986. Teresa Zuniga has made great progress this season. Has run 1:57.45 from Spain, and in lane 8, Ina Yevseva of the Soviet Union, who's ran 1:56. In 1 and 2, Diane Edwards of Great Britain and Delisa Floyd of the United States.
Will, but or it might be the Americans. Certainly Floyd led in the semi-final, so she could be a front runner, but it's going to be a rush down that back straight to get in the proper position, and the East Germans like to leave it as late as possible, come down the straight if they can. Sun
shining brightly in Seoul. It's a magnificent day and quite a superb atmosphere. Saver is in 8. 1:41 is Zuniga, Vodars and Kolovic. Gallagher's an improver. Yevseva the outside, Zuniga, Vodars, Kolovic, Vochtel, Gallagher, Floyd and Edwards. So the Spanish girl out the back, and so will Edwards. And we're looking for someone to take up the front running. There's no natural leader in this final. And Gallagher, Vodars and Vochtel have it at the moment. Yevseva coming across from the outside with Kolovic, Floyd, then 2 from the back, Edwards and Zuniga. So the 2 East Germans are running side by side. A surprise.
A surprise, yes. They're going to go all the way by the look of them. They're going to set a reasonable pace. At this pace, they're going to be under the 60 seconds, maybe around 57.58, which is quite a good pace for the first half of a final of this nature.
Vochtel inside Vodars. They were 1-2 in the World Championship last year and are the equal favourites for this race. Yevseva 3rd. Gallagher, the silver medalist at Los Angeles, 4th. Then Kolovic as Vodars leads them through in 56.43. They're moving. They're really going. Floyd 3 from the back, Zuniga and Edwards. And the East Germans have gone out hard, and Vodars is kicking it down from a long, long way out.
It's a long way, Bruce. As you rightly said, Yevseva is the only one I think could stay with them. Maybe the Yugoslav, is it?
Kolovic in 4th placing. Yes. And Gallagher's 5th.
That's a very high commitment. 56 seconds first lap is a very tough commitment.
And Vochtel tackles Vodars, as she did in Rome last year. She went past her at this stage, and Vodars was able to come back. Will she respond? Kolovic moving outside Yevseva, and then Gallagher. So Vochtel, and Vodars does it again. She now responds and moves up on her shoulder, and Gallagher's got a good chance here. Gallagher's going to challenge the East Germans in the straight. Vodars, Vochtel. Gallagher can't get there. And as she did in Rome last year, she's going to do in Seoul this year. Vodars is away and wins in 1:56.10. A courageous victory. Second Vochtel, and the bronze medal for Gallagher. Then Kolovic, Yevseva, Floyd, Zuniga and Edwards. It was a carbon copy of Rome last year. Again, Vauxhall, for some reason, wanted to take the lead at the 200 and
67. It was almost a 60-second last lap. It really was the last man standing sort of a phrase. All the others had to sit on them. They had the, if they were good enough, they would have been able to easily pick them up. They just had to maintain even speed into that second lap.
Years ago in Los Angeles, has finished third in Seoul. So the women's 800 metres went to plan. The favourite won, and the second favourite got the